Welcome back to Timberguide. My name is Holzi, and at the end of the last episode, we finished this dam. And my plan today was, rather than is, to talk a bit more about how to build them, why, and so on, as well as wood management. Because if you saw at the end, it took several days for them to finish, and that's because we're still very, very low on wood. So that was my initial plan. However, I seem to be jinxing everything that I say. So I was mentioning in the beginning of last episode that I hope that the devs don't change a lot of things, but apparently they did it. And one of the things is that their new tutorial path, which now don't actually show up for me anymore. So I'll have to have a look into that in just a second. Where they, in the tutorial, are talking about the working hours. Well, we did that. It talks about droughts and bad tides, and also dams, as well as the layer tool, vertical architecture, haulers. We haven't gotten to those yet, as well as how the workforce works in general, apparently. So let me actually check the settings if I... No, this is disabled. So I'm gonna have to check in a separate save file whether that shows up. Either way, let's continue with the original plan, regardless, since it doesn't show up. So we have built this dam, and it's holding back some of the water. I believe it's 0.7 of height, which apparently this natural dam seems to be slightly lower, because some of the water is escaping here. And this actually gives me a good option to show the layering tool. So up here in this right corner, you actually have the option to take each and every of the layers away, and it will show you what happens, or what is underneath rather than what happens, up to the very lowest layers. And in this very instance, there isn't actually mud, it's just a dead end. So nothing happens, the water doesn't escape there much, it's just a little bit more drainage. What I did, however, see is something we might have to think about in the future. And that is these 3 pipes. Those are called bad tide drains. So during a bad tide, and we haven't had one yet, they will spill out bad water. So the same stuff that flows up here, which makes the land dead and any food not grow, etc. So we'll have to think about if we want to prevent this from destroying our colony, what we do with that. But for now, my main problem is I'm running out of wood. And I believe the easiest way right now to get a little bit more is actually to extend our path over here and just plonk down another gatherer flag. So that way we have yet another beaver chopping down trees. And I will also plant more trees. This is the plant tree section. Actually some pine, not pine, birch, because I want them to grow faster, as well as, actually since they chopped down more, I'll fill this up with oak as much as we can. And in terms of planting, every little bit of green on a tile means it's irrigated, so even this one should grow, and we'll just see whether the beavers plant a tree or not. The other thing I want to have a look at is more water storage, specifically the bigger one. What do we need for that? That is planks and gears, which will use planks to make gears. So let's actually do that. We come down to wood, and we do have the sign, thankfully, to build a gear workshop. Yes, please, unlock that, and then connect the path. One more thing I want to check. We have 2 right now. Okay, this beaver doesn't seem to reach those trees and has no trees to cut down here. So we might as well pause this job. That way, Yasha can go and do something else. And to pause the job, you can either press the pause button up here, or since we were talking about key commands all the time, P is one that you might also want to put in your memory banks and use whenever it seems right. So how far have they gotten? Low on logs, low on planks. I actually did see this beaver was sitting on his butt, which means he wasn't able to do anything. And that was because it was full. So we need more plank storage, at least temporarily. And I'm going to put that one down here, and I'll tell it to store planks. We already ran out of them, but that's fine. The other thing I'm going to do, put down the invented on a lower priority. So if every job or if every beaver has a job, then yes, they can go in here and scribble away. But if they have something more important to do, then we will pause the signs. It's not a very urgent one. And since we're full on water, I'll plunk one more down in the small water storages before we try to get a big one in. So, oh, yeah. We haven't told this dear beaver to cut down trees. Oh, that was the wrong layer. And one other thing I haven't mentioned is that if you have grown trees, there's a chance of them spawning a sapling or seedling, which is one of the ways to, you know, have a renewable source of wood is not to mark every single tree for cutting. That way it gives you the chance of regrowing them naturally. So you can see here the small pines that we have over here, those are the natural ones, or simply planting the big ones by hand. And I'm just filling out these little gaps that we have from the smaller ones. I will actually change one thing. That's this one. Or, no, I'll leave it at that. Some ideas. I want to potentially put one more woodworking shop here to produce more planks. But in order to fit that, I will need to, well, either put it over here, but then I can't connect the road without cutting more trees, or I'll put it over here, which requires us to put platforms. They take a lot of planks, or, well, at least in the beginning it's a lot of planks, but you will use them extensively, so they will always keep your planks down. The other thing is they are 100 sign to unlock, and the other important thing that we want, which also costs planks, is stairs. So the stairs are 4 planks and 1 log, and the platforms are 6 planks. So the platform would allow us to build on top of it. So if I put a platform here, we can just do that. To save costs, what I can actually do is, well, save building costs. I could put a levee. So levee is a full solid block, not like the dam that puts 0.7. The levee would actually be the same height as the surrounding terrain. But it's 120 signs, which is all we have. So I don't really want to do that just now. I will, however, fill the gaps. More trees. Why can't I build on it? Oh, there's one there. I didn't see that. Good. So let's speed this up a bit, and hopefully this little fellow over here will get us the wood we need. How much longer do they need? God, they're only 20%.
Sometimes it's too slow.
Yeah, this will take a while. And these, oh well, at least the birch trees are coming along. So it is really good to put them in the beginning, but in terms of time in, money out, the oak is by far the best. Now that we have the gear workshop, that actually means we can unlock the medium tank. Do I want that before I want stairs? I think so. And unlike the other ones, I'm gonna put that up here, close to where the beavers live. And again, tell it to store water. So in terms of next tasks, I think we're pretty prepared for the next drought. We have both the dam in, which saves us a bit of water, and the irrigation for the food. We have decent amount of water, and we'll have once this is in. And we should also be quite okay on food. But I think that's one of the things we can expand a bit. So let's actually put some more food storage in. And how do I want this? Let's do like this. Carrots. And I think even more carrots. I think the berries aren't the biggest problem because they don't dry out as fast. The other thing we want to do is prepare for bad tide. So in a bad tide, this water source will become brown, as well as these pipes are gonna spill out bad water. And I'm thinking, how do we best divert that? That is interesting. So ideally we should put up, well, first of all, close this off so that it doesn't flow in here, and then build sort of a tower around that then leads it into the channel above. Because down here I don't really care as much. This can have as much bass water as we want. So here it's simply using the levees I was talking about earlier and just build up a tower and block off the in-between here. So that's going to cost us logs and a bit of science for this, and time and wood. The one over here, that will require us to unlock sluices. And as you can see, they are both high in science, the sluice itself, but also we need metal blocks. And to get metal blocks, we need to unlock first the scavenger flag, which can give us scrap metals from these ruins. And after that, we need a smelter. which both uses power and another 300 science. So what's that? 250 and 400, almost 1,000 science. Yeah, we're gonna need more inventors. So let's do that first. Where's the science stuff? There. Another inventor. Oh, it was already oriented the right way. As always, I have not marked trees for cutting down. These marked? Oh, they're on top. I accidentally put some up there. Oh well, matter. One other thing I'm gonna do is very soon, I think, move over here and try to get this wood as well. Because it seems to be taking longer to get some wood. And we have a lot of green area here that we can both use for planting trees or planting more food. So I think it is time to unlock the platforms after all. They're 100, or I'm thinking I would need platforms here for the pass, or I can go over here. I could go over here. That's shorter. Ignore what I said. I'm gonna go over here. I first thought over here, and that would be too many planks. So let's extend that over here and actually bring even more lumberjacks over. You can actually be... Do you want to pause you? Do I want to delete you? You can run over there. Okay, I wasn't sure whether they can run over this. I think in that case, I'm gonna plonk down a forester. Yes. And then I'll tell this forester, plant even more oak trees. How much did they reach? Over here. 2 more. There we go. And why not also over here? We're hurting for wood. Yeah, you have nothing to do, so you might as well be paused for a bit. This also should go down. And since we don't have power, I might as well pause these. The pumps, I'll pause one of them. We have 150 water right now. How long is it? 4-day drought. So that should last. But since we now have the water, we might as well pump a little bit. Some of it will evaporate. The rest will be through the pump. But as you can see, the dam is now nicely holding this water in, which means all of our trees, all of our plants over here, they stay green, and we actually do not need to worry about the food in terms of how much we have stored, because these carrots are still watered, healthy, and growing. So in the meantime, because this is always a good thing to do when there is no water, I'm gonna plonk down even more inventors. How much wood do we have? Nothing. Okay, well then I'll do 2 for now and connect them. The other thing we can do is we can actually look into our well-being a little. At the moment, hunger, thirst, sleep, and shelter, we're completely full. And an easy way to get a higher average well-being above is looking at foods. So we could do sunflower seeds. Those are direct. You don't need to process them in any way. You just plant them and harvest them. Grilled potatoes are very good and efficient, because for every potato grown, I think you get 6 when you grill them. It says in the housing. You can look at that in a second. And also the grilled potatoes, I believe, give a +2. So do the chestnuts and spatterdock. For chestnuts, we need to unlock a few more things. Same for bread, Cathay maple, but sunflower seeds we can do directly. I might as well plant some of those. Let's do 3 rows here and 2 rows there. And if you go in the food section, you see the grill. Actually, we don't need to unlock. And for every potato, oh sorry, you get 4, not 6. But still, every potato you harvest gives you 4 grilled and edible potatoes. So those should be our next priority. And I don't like how that looks. Don't hate me for it. We're not gonna need as many berries. So I will just mark these all for demolition. This does not look nice. So we can keep a few rows here. We also have over here and over there. So it's not like we're running out of berries. But yes, I'm destroying berries that have grown. And I'm sorry for that. But I can't not plant in rows. That doesn't work. Oh, come on. Did I miss that? Oh. Mark resources for this, for demolition. And then let's plant more sunflowers. Okay, the very last. As well as potatoes. And the drought has ended. We barely used any water. It hasn't really gone down that much here either. So looking at that, I guess we probably could do around 10 days, maybe. Especially once this one goes in, we should be quite good. But now that we have power again, we can reactivate those. We should also lower the priority of those 2. And for now, I think we can pause the gatherer as well. How far off our trees? They should soon be done. Good, 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 good. We need trees, desperately. I'll actually pause the gear workshop. Oh, I click twice. Because I want this one built relatively fast. The water I'm not so worried. So this can wait a moment in terms of gears. And I can actually even pause it. That pauses the construction as well. Or I could just lower the priority. I had this one. I don't need to lower the priority. Anywho, I want the plants to be used for this. Yes. Can also start you again. Oh, they can't reach that. Interesting. So these two are too far away from the district center. How much more do you need? Is that enough? Yes, for one. Gosh dang it. I guess asymmetric for now it is. But we still need to put in our grill. Chuck that down here. And actually one thing we can do, extend our path a bit longer. So I both want some storage for the raw potatoes as well as the grilled ones. And I'm going to put those close to this one so that the beaver in there doesn't have to run too long, too far. Where there are the potatoes and here the grilled potatoes. And we need to tell her the recipe. Finally, this one's in. That means we're getting more trees soon. And we can actually also continue this again. But I do want to do, or speed up what I said earlier. Actually put one more wood workshop in here. That's this one. And how does that put us for power? Ooh, you see what I see? The wood workshop needs more power. So we're at, what are we going to be? 220 when this is completed. So we will have to build a new water wheel, which I think, actually, what's this construction? Will they be able to reach this? That is the question. I put this on high priority. Yeah, he doesn't have planks. We should maybe put a small pile here of logs. Yeah, we're eating through our logs way too fast. So in the beginning, it might be hurting with logs and what you can get, which is why the planting and the forest is very important. Alternatively, we are very good for science now. So we might as well unlock the stairs. Yes, I will go up here with those. And again, lumberjack. Tell it to cut all of these trees. But all of this needs planks. Just a really annoying bit. Do I move this? Yeah, I think we have to for a moment. Build a temporary one. These at least don't cost resources. They only cost the beavers time. This tank is finally in, which is very nice. That means we can store a lot of water. And we actually have, well now, one unemployed. We had two for a second. So let's put this one up for a moment and see if we can do a bit more in terms of construction. It's almost in. Yes, we need more trees, I know. Oh, we're getting sunflowers in. Not many yet. I always have a feeling sunflowers needs a lot. Like this area will not be enough. But for now, as long as we're slowly getting more. We do have, I should probably put more sunflower storage. And since this isn't full yet, I'll just use that instead. Oh, power is in. That is good. That means we can actually continue this and hopefully get that in. Not that we have enough wood. That's a different problem, which I think though is soon going to be solved. One more day. One more day. And the wood revolution starts. Which one is unstuffed? Oh yeah, the inventor. I thought it was the grill. So one other thing I want to do, because I don't like how they all have to run around the entire time, is putting in stairs. I'm going to put those on low priority because we have other things to build. But eventually, I would like this to connect here, which gives us a bit of an ugly square, but yeah, that's life. It does mean they have a shorter route, which I think is beneficial. Why are there carrots lying around? Who did not clean those up? There goes our new well-being high score. And that is due to our sunflowers and grilled potatoes. So that gave us a +3, which didn't need any science unlock. The rest of these will need science. And about 1,000. Gleinabite, he made a good video about that the other day. So go check that one out if you want. And I think the other well-beings all cost us... Oh, rooftop sites. Rooftop terrace. I can't talk today. We could build a rooftop terrace. I'm just thinking where and how I put that. So that the beavers reach and it doesn't cost me an arm and a leg. Thing is, this needs to be built on a roof, but it can be any roof. I think, as unconventional as this is, for now I'm gonna put it here. Because anything else will cost me so many planks for platforms and stairs here that I don't want to do that. And I don't feel like expanding housing over here just yet. That would have given me a chance to build them here. Oh, that beaver is injured. Probably over here. There's a chance of injury. In the gear workshop a medium one. So in order to remedy that, we're gonna have to build a medical bed, which costs 80 science. Not too much, and only one plank. That's also fine. And for this. Where do we put that? We can put one in here. Yes, please unlock. I'll put another one here. And the path. And I think that will do for now. As you see, our rooftop terrace isn't at the moment connected. That is because this hasn't been built yet. But it's an interesting case to show that beavers can build above them for a certain amount. I think 2 blocks. But downwards they can always build. So if we think, for example, we want to block this off, even if the beavers would only be up here, they could block these off because they can reach from above. But they might not be able to put a wall up here if they only have they only reach this area. Which means maybe we should prioritize a bit. But I think they're anyway building on it, right? Yeah, making planks. So always. But
it's been 84 years.
Look at this beautiful tree. We finally have some oak. So hopefully we will now start to see more logs coming in. And I will actually put a second flag over here just to make sure. Because this beaver now has to walk 3 times to get the logs from this. How are medical beds coming along? They're almost done. These 2 are waiting for planks, and this person is just waiting. But you can actually see, even though I put a second beaver to cut down here, they are not keeping up with the growth. So that's a very good thing, because that means we have logs coming in all the time. And we should slowly build up a stockpile. I think it's soon time to think about haulers, because we can see that the productivity of this little one is only 60%, which has to do with that we are just using up all the logs constantly. So this one doesn't barely fill up, which means as of now, this beaver has to walk over here, get his logs and bring them back before I can turn them into planks. And we don't have the population just yet to do that. So I think we might want to extend that a bit. I'm just curious how or where. And then afterwards, in the next episode, we can work on the haulers. And would you look at that? Once you have logs, buildings that only cost logs are getting in fast. We have nobody here. Are these all on low? Yes. Okay, well this isn't as important anymore because our oak trees are finally done. That being said, we can pause these 3 because we don't have power. And it's another 4-day drought. Which should be absolutely no issue. We have water for weeks, we have food, we have trees finally, so we should be all good. And I think we'll leave it at that for now. If you liked it, please share it with a friend, helps me the most, or give it a like. And if you want to know about new episodes, feel free to subscribe. Bye!